The old world of Warhammer is a grim, dark place full of endless war, or so they say. If you're able to look past the massive battles and evil monsters that fill that world, you're going to find a bunch of really interesting, potentially funny stories that are a lot of fun to read about and a lot of fun to learn about. I'm just starting my journey into the old world, and I've found a lot of these recently that have been a lot of fun to read about and learn about. So today I wanted to share those with you guys. Let's start at the top, or technically maybe the bottom, with the Lord of the Undead himself, Nagash. For the old world fans, you know him quite well as the great sorcerer who triggered the rise of the undead and led to a lot of really bad things in the old world. With all the horrible things he did and all of the power he has, you may think he is untouchable, but that is not actually true, especially when the Skaven are involved. After a long battle for Crippling Peak that held a fortune in Warpstone, Nagash and the Skaven were at a stalemate. He couldn't get rid of them, and they couldn't push him out of the mountain, so instead, Nagash offered a deal. They'd become part of his great plan, and he'd give them a steady flow of Warpstone that is their favorite thing in the world. While the Skaven never trust anyone, they couldn't refuse the Warpstone and went along with it. For a little while, the great plan worked extremely well, with the Skaven helping out Nagash to accomplish everything he needed to, and the Skaven getting a good steady flow of Warpstone. But eventually the Skaven caught on to exactly what Nagash was up to, wanting to end all life and raise them as the undead for him to control. And they were not fans of dying. So the Skaven had their typical genius idea, and decided to assassinate the immortal sorcerer. Not using any weapons that they were used to, or their standard weapons that we see on the tabletop or anything like that, they brought in a Fellblade. This radioactive dagger was staggering in its power and evil, and the Skaven managed to smuggle it to a captured human king. This king, Alcatazar, happily hacked Nagash to pieces, and this led to the ultimate Lord of the Undead being undone by some sneaky rats, which is always a very funny story to see, especially when the Skaven are involved. And unlike Nagash's plan, which went horribly wrong, this video is sponsored today by vidIQ, which helped create this video, give me the ideas for it, and do all of the back-end stuff to help me make this even better for you. So let's talk about vidIQ for a moment. You guys may not have noticed lately, but I've been working on leveling up my YouTube channel to a whole new level, and because of that, the tool I've been using to do that has reached out to me and actually wants to affiliate with me, which is wonderful. And that is vidIQ. vidIQ is a software that specializes in leveling up your YouTube channel. It's been a long YouTube journey for me, and I'm not here because I want to blow up and become YouTube famous. That's not what I want. I'm here because I like to share my passion for Warhammer 40k lore and talk about the things I can't really talk about with my friends. A lot of my friends who play Warhammer 40k are a lot more casual than I am when it comes to lore, and being able to do these deep dives and talk about lore accurate armies and things like that isn't something I can do in my daily life. So I'm here. And because of that, I wanted to find all of you guys that are the same way. And that's what drove me to vidIQ. vidIQ is an amazing tool that gives you access to thumbnail idea generators, script outline generators, which we're actually using for this current video. It also helps you with a lot of the back-end stuff, things like tags and keywords and making sure your descriptions are accurate and detailed. All these little things are little minor tricks that help me find more of you. In the last few months since I've started doing this, I've had multiple videos reach over 5,000 people, which beforehand, if you go look, even a year ago, I was reaching maybe 100 if it was a good video. So vidIQ has really made a difference and helped me refine my skills through various trainings and tools so that I can share my videos and my love with you guys. So if this is something that intrigues you, if you want to be able to share your videos and your interests with more of the general public, there's a link down in my description that will take you to an awesome affiliate site and help you guys get set up. There are free options as well as different paid options that you can do, and I definitely recommend checking them out and figuring out what's best for you. Now let's get back to the video that vidIQ helped me create. For this next one, let's go over to the Ogre Kingdoms. The Ogres live by a simple law. Eat something that will make you stronger. And this is what led to the next incident. Long before the rise of the Empire, an Ogre tribe heard about the land of the dead kings and wanted to gain some of their power. So that's where they went in order to sack the tombs and gain the power of these dead kings. And that's exactly what the Ogres did. They went into the city of the dead, started smashing tombs and sepulchres, eating pretty much anything they could get their hands on, trying to gain these powers. But there was one major issue. They were sacking the tombs of the Tomb Kings. And just as the main course was getting started, the city itself came to life. Statues and decorations were animated to defend the city, driving the Black Maws into near extinction because of it. Imagine it, a horde of ravenous ogres fighting statues and mythical beasts as they just wanted to eat. This is a great example of making sure you know what you're eating, because in the Warhammer universe, that may not always be safe. Now, of course, one of these lists wouldn't be complete without the Dwarves. The Dwarves are very famous for their holding of grudges and their seeking of retribution throughout all of the Old World, and this leads to a lot of hijinks and shenanigans. And for this tale, enter Caedric Redmane, a dwarf rune priest who led an attack to free territory from the Skaven. And he actually succeeded at freeing Karnak Varn from the Skaven hordes. For nearly 50 years, his clan became wealthy and extremely successful when they discovered a vein of Grommerl that brought them a lot of fortune and success and fame. And when the last vein dried up, Cadrin decided to personally escort this final shipment to the High King. Wasn't a military convoy, it was a bunch of mules. And in the Old World, not even that's going to be safe. Even Amazon Prime would struggle to protect your packages there. As he was delivering it, Cadrin was attacked by a group of orcs. Like a proper dwarven hero, he fought and was mortally wounded. He even had a defiant final act where he threw his runehammer into black water in order to prevent the enemies from getting a hold of it. His death so shook his clan that they even abandoned Karnak Var to the Skaven once again. The craziest part of this story, though, is that all of this was caused because a donkey took a wrong path. Had Cadrin stayed on the path he intended, they would have arrived safely without ever encountering the orcs. So this massive grudge and 50-year fight that was required to eventually reclaim that land from the Skaven all happened because a donkey got lost. Okay, we are halfway through this fun list of strange events and happenings in the Warhammer Old World universe, and it's proving to be a lot of fun to research and learn these stories and share them with you guys. But what about you? What are some of the fun stories you found in the Warhammer the Old World that you guys thoroughly enjoy or maybe got you more involved? And if you're involved in Warhammer the Old World, let me know what your armies are and why you like them as well. The Wood Elves of Aetheldoran are often known for being very lithe and graceful and very, very talented at working with the woods and the creatures in there. And most of the time they are very good at it, but sometimes it goes horribly wrong. Case in point, Arlath the Bold. Arlath had one job, and that was to kill the Beast Lord Mogr, a extremely powerful chaos spawn. Arlath lived up to his name and in a bold strike went in for the kill, but he didn't succeed. Mogr had lived and many Wood Elves had been killed or severely injured. And this was a major embarrassment to Arlath himself. Most elves would probably let this go, retreat into the woods, and find safety to recover and recoup so that they could rebuild their strength. But Arlath did not. He held a grudge. For 15 years, he stewed and trained and honed his skills and maybe went to therapy to try and deal with that PTSD, which would have sucked. Then when he was ready, he went in for the rematch. This time he went prepared, but what was that with? His secret weapon? A flask of the sap from the Oak of Ages itself, the ancient holy tree of the Wood Elves. He basically brought a divine Molotov cocktail to a monster fight. They fought for hours, and eventually He did manage to torch Mortar, but it only took 15 years and a divine sacrifice of sap in order to make it happen. Bold? Maybe. Efficient? Probably not. The animosity between dwarves and goblins is legendary, and that's what led to this next incident. So in the High King of the Dwarves, Alric met the goblin warlord Gorkill Eyegouger at the Battle of Black Falls. This was destined to be another epic battle. These two fought and battled on the edge of an epic waterfall in full cinematic style, just like two heroes in a movie would do. They fought axe versus whatever rusty weapon Gorkill was wielding. It was hard to tell. No one really knows for sure if it was a sword or an axe or something. Goblins are famous for improvised weapons, and that may have been his downfall. High King Alric gained the advantage and managed to mortally wound Gorkill. Victory was his, and the High King raised his axe to finish it. But the Goblin Warlord had other ideas. He decided that if he was going to die, he was going to take someone with him. In a final fit of pure Goblin spite, the Goblin Warlord tackled the High King of the Dwarves over the waterfall and caused them both to fall to their doom. The Dwarves went on to win the battle, defeating the leaderless Goblins. But in reality, Gorkill got the final laugh. By killing the High King of the Dwarves, he destabilized them for a very long time and slowed down their advances and helped save their people. This may have been a small victory, but it was a petty one, which is perfect for the goblins. Bretonnia is a land of chivalry and violence and skilled warriors trained and honed to do the duties given them by the Lady of the Lake in their religious zeal. Their founder, Giles United, is a figure of legend throughout history, uniting his kingdom with his 12 companions to drive out the greenskin hordes. The official history is left to tell the tale of Giles and his Grail Knights fighting to save the people of the world of Bretonnia from all of the threats. But the histories like to ignore one small fact. While the Grail Knights were a major factor in those battles, they also had hordes of peasants that were heavily armed and trained in their fighting skills as well, that did most of the fighting, dying, and killing, while the Grail Knights' jobs were to swoop in and cause chaos in enemy formations. And because of this, it makes you wonder, maybe the Lady of the Lake isn't just a goddess, maybe she's also a really good PR manager, because through her religious zealots and priestesses, she managed to spread the tale of the Grail Knights far and wide, giving people faith and focus on them instead of remembering the mass losses that Giles had to give to the greenskin hordes in order to really save Bretonnia. And the weirdness doesn't stop there. Giles had one of his main companions that had some very unique skills. Freedom of Aquitaine's blessing from the Lady of the Lake was to be a very skilled falconer. And that was it. That was his gifts from the Lady of the Lake. Despite this, a lot of legends talk about him using skills of deception and deceit in order to gain access to places where he could scout ahead for the Grail Knights. But this leads to more questions. The disguise he was supposedly using was a bird. So, was he able to turn into the bird? Was he able to control the bird? Was he just a falconer who would use the bird to signal for reconnaissance like literally every general in history used to do? We don't really know. But because the Lady of the Lake and her priestesses are involved, word spread that it was a skill honed and blessed by the lady herself. Have you ever wanted to be part of a brand new Warhammer community that's just getting started? Well, today we're actually launching our Patreon. It's a brand new tier system and community that we're just getting started, where you can not only access all of our previous videos and get major Warhammer advice, lore accurate lists, all that kind of fun stuff. You can also join our channel's Space Marine chapter, and if you're one of the first ones on that tier, actually get your name inscribed on one of the Space Marines. That'll set you guys up as permanent members of the channel for as long as we keep this going. On top of that, there's a bunch of tiers with a bunch of really cool stuff. The higher tiers actually come with either a free shirt or a free hoodie, whenever we get those and release them. So make sure you guys join us and take a look at all of the cool bonuses and tiers we have, because there's a lot of really cool stuff on our Patreon. The link will be in the description below. So make sure you join now so that you can say that you were one of the first ones to join the Night Wardens and the Readers That Wargame Patreon. Hope to see you there. And finally, we're going to take a trip into the grimmest, darkest part of the Empire, Sylvania. This is a land where the vampire counts control everything, and the dead don't stay dead, and the living are just, well, used to it. Every year, the Old World experiences a day called Gaimentionnacht. It's the day when the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead is at its thinnest. In most of the Empire, people lock their doors, they hide, and they try and stay as far away from any potential threat of the undead as possible. But in Sylvania, it's a Tuesday. The undead walk the earth fairly regularly. It's the armies they channel in order to protect themselves. And being led by the vampire counts, the undead are just kind of there. That's how things work. So this day is just another day. Life in Sylvania as an average person is kind of a morbid comedy, full of people living amongst the undead, going about their day, doing what they need to do in order to survive, while knowing that the graveyard down the street was just recently sacked in order to go fight another battle. And this morbid humor that fills this region is something that actually attracts a lot of people to go play the vampire counts. The reality that mortal people are just living amongst the undead as normal people, normal peasants, is really, really fascinating to see, and is one of my favorite parts of the world building of the Old World itself. And there you have it. Those are 7 really funny stories that you should look into more in the Warhammer the Old World universe. It's got a lot of really cool stories and lore built up from the Warhammer Fantasy days, and it was a lot of fun to research and to learn about. It's one of the reasons that I'm starting to get more and more involved in Warhammer the Old World, and I honestly think you might want to as well. So, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments below what story was your favorite, and if there's any stories you think I missed. On top of that, make sure you go check out vidIQ if you were wanting to get into the YouTube world. There's a lot of really, really cool tools and tips and things like that you can use to get started and grow quickly. And finally, make sure you go check out my Patreon. We have a bunch of cool features in there, including a bunch of short stories I wrote for other videos that will be there for free. So I hope I see you guys in the next one.